rAVe Radio. With Rants and rAVes, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is Rants and rAVes with Gary Kayye.
Hey everyone, this is Gary Kayye, and thanks for joining us for another post-InfoComm edition of my Rants and rAVes videocast. Today I'm joined with Paul Richards, who's Chief Revenue Officer for PTZOptics and HuddleCamHD. Paul, how are you?
Hi, Gary. I'm doing great. Just got back from InfoComm 2022, and we had a great show.
Yeah, you had some neat products. One product that I don't even know that it had a name badge on it when I saw it in your booth. I'd love for you to talk about that, but I know that you have some specific things you want to talk about today. You had a great show. I mean, obviously, as we talked offline, as more people are going to work from home than ever before, you're in a really good position to sort of provide them sort of a step up from what they had before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. InfoComm was so much fun. We really missed getting in touch with everyone since last InfoComm we were at was 2019.
Yeah.
And, this InfoComm had about half the attendance of 2019, but still, it was a lot of great people, and we had so much fun. I have a quick video from the showroom floor when it first opened. Gary, you remember?
Right.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. Yeah, the band that came by and played. Yeah.
So the band came by. It was fun. Me and our team were really excited about having everybody come back and get together. I haven't seen you run around a trade show in a while, Gary. I was starting to feel like Pro AV industry was off in some way.
I mean, at least we had something going on. I mean, it's fun to be back in person. It's funny because last time we were at InfoComm, I would bet, and again, I could be wrong on this, that most people looked at you as a kind of a camera company for the house of worship market primarily. And since then, you've sort of transformed the company and added a lot of new markets and actually solved a lot of problems, including some of the ones that we had in our own world with launch, because we bought 3 PTZOptics cameras for our studio. There's a lot of you've evolved quite a bit, I guess, since InfoComm 2019.
For 100%, and I'm so excited to be working with so many new Pro AV integrators and distributors and value add resellers that we work with, because streaming and video production, which is where PTZOptics is really focused, has become a really big part of a lot of our company, a lot of our partners' businesses. Streaming in every vertical, whether it's education, healthcare, corporate, list goes on and on, house of worship, everything has been exploding the past 2 years. This is the first InfoComm, Gary, where so many of our customers came up and said, thank you for shipping product.
Yeah.
Period. And that's it, right?
It's a weird kind of thing to think about.
I was like, are we all supposed to be
Aren't you in the business to ship products? Yes, of course.
But unfortunately, I'm going to say, and you may know this better than I do, but 20, 30, 40% of the companies on InfoComm floor were having, in some way, shape, or form, dealing with chip shortages. I mean, we do too, from a certain extent. So it was an interesting, wow, this is the new normal. We're dealing with chip shortages, we're dealing with things, but live streaming and video production and audiovisual communications have grown like a hockey stick in the past 2 or 3 years. And everyone's been waiting to get back. In fact, the most valuable things, I think, were the educational seminars, where our company did 3 educational seminars, live streaming, content video production, remote video production with NDI, and then using NDI Bridge. They were all sold out, every single one of them. And 3 or 4 years ago, you couldn't get people to come to live streaming educational seminars.
Yeah. And I mean, I think people have realized that, the one good thing that came out of the pandemic is that it evolved us into a whole new market opportunity, right? We're going to still have the market we had before, but we're going to have this new opportunity. And there are going to be more people that are working from home, and there are going to be more people that want something better than Zoom or Teams. And they're going to be more people that want to be able to add more value to their presentations, meaning more than just PowerPoint. They're going to want to add extra content to it. And they're going to want to be able to stream on the fly, right? With much better quality than what they can off their phone. So, thinking about that, obviously you're kind of 2 companies in one. PTZOptics, and then you have HuddleCamHD. So how do I approach you? Like, I'm an integrator. How do I know which company to deal with? What products are in which category, and sort of where are you now? What have you evolved into?
So with HuddleCamHD, we're really known for the leaders in auto tracking. So our auto tracking cameras, that's what we were showing, debuting at InfoComm 2022. We have the SimplTrack 2, which is our second generation. It has a USB plug-and-play technology, but SDI, which is interestingly enough coming back strong in education, where they just want a reliable cable that they can run 150 feet and then connect it to what they need to, whether that be a distance learning lecture capture solution like Panopto or Kaltura, or if they're converting it back to USB at the end of a long SDI run, which is highly reliable and has locking connectors, back to USB with Zoom or something else.
Right.
So the SimplTrack 2 is great. And then I'm really happy to say our SimplTrack Lite won the best camera at show at NAB. We didn't win an InfoComm, but it's an auto tracking camera that's half the price of our SimplTrack 2, coming in at just $14.99 with a lot of the great features that we offer. So that HuddleCamHD is very well known in auto tracking and more advanced camera technology. With PTZOptics, we have just really good optics, right? Robotically controlled optics. And this year at InfoComm, we decided to show a little bit early. It's going to be 60, maybe 90 days till we're shipping this product, I'm sure. But we're known for showing product that we're very close to shipping, if not already shipping. And we're calling it the Studio Pro. And Gary, that's the camera you were
hinting
hinting at.
me. You've got a video of that. I want you to show them that, because that product doesn't exist anywhere other than in this little video that you have. So you shot a little video yourself. It's neat. It's very small. It's got a cool little switch on the back that allows you to switch between portrait or landscape mode. And it kind of I forget what you called it, but it has that DSLR feel to it, so you can blur the background, that kind of stuff.
That's right. And, basically the market, the work from home market is a lot bigger than I think any of us are thinking about in terms of the growth that's going to happen with work from home. Right. And, a webcam is good. Every employee needs one. If they're going to work from home, you need a webcam. But the next step up, there's this big gap where there's a digital SLR camera where you have to specifically choose lenses, and there's a lot of options. And truly a digital SLR camera is designed for photography. Right. It's designed for the photography market. Now, this camera is called the PTZOptics Studio Pro, and it features USB, so it's plug and play, designed to be powered by USB 100%. But it also includes HDMI, so that if you have a little bit of an at-home studio and you're using a Blackmagic, maybe Mini, those little ATEM Minis, you HDMI for a confidence monitor. And it also has NDI, and we've been seeing a lot of growth in IP video and NDI connectivity. So we pack this thing with everything you would need in a lot of different various scenarios. But the quality, and we've talked to so many of our partners and resellers and distributors like Exertis and B&H Photo, people who have been exploding in growth and saying, doctors, lawyers, accountants, people who in the pro AV industry you wouldn't necessarily think of necessarily of being able to spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 on their home studio. It's in a massively emerging market, and this camera is going to be coming in at $599.
Okay, so I want to see you back. I'm still seeing that video. I want you to pop yourself back on here, because I have a question for you. I've studied these cameras quite a bit because I wanted to up the game, and obviously I've got a better quality camera than most people do for what I do. You do as well. And one of the limitations of all these, for example, DSLRs or higher quality cameras, is that you get high resolution output on HDMI, but you get a low resolution output on USB. So then you have to take and use an HDMI to USB converter. Is the output resolution the same on USB or HDMI and versus NDI, or what's the difference?
Well, I mean, the main difference is actually the fact that USB will auto negotiate. So whereas with HDMI to a certain extent will also auto negotiate, and NDI actually is the most flexible in my opinion. Where with NDI, if you're sending video over IP, the resolution that you set will be received on the far end in that resolution, because it's just software based. Right. From an HDMI perspective, like you saw in this video, we were showing HDMI connected to a monitor with set by 16:6.
Right. And by the way, that's vertical. By the way, that's a vertical image. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you plug in an HDMI input, it'll take the monitor a moment to negotiate. So regardless whether it's USB, HDMI, or IP video with NDI. We're talking about 1080p 60 quality. But if you plug in that camera to USB to your computer and you open it with Zoom, it'll auto negotiate with Zoom and say, hey, you just need 720. Right. The difference is between a webcam and this camera is that it has optical zoom. So it has a really good Olympus 12x optical zoom lens. It makes all the difference to have the real premium glass inside a camera like that.
I'm ready to place an order because I want one of these cameras, and I can think of about 5 other places we need them in the company. This is going to be a very hot product. So $599, and what's it called again?
It's called the PTZOptics Studio Pro.
PTZOptics Studio Pro. Now we actually did kind of like a little booth tour and showed how your AI works and how SimplTrack Lite works, the product specifically, and then I did an interview with Justin Shapiro where they're talking about the industry and sort of where that market is right now. Some of the stuff that you talked about is in that interview. I hope that everyone will. I'll put a link in here in the description of the video cast below. I hope everyone will go watch those 2 videos. We'll be watching for that new product to come out. Paul, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm excited and congratulations. And by the way, I love the retro Nintendo logo look of the PTZOptics logo. I get it. I'm old enough to get that.
Thank you for having me, Gary. It was so great to see you in person in InfoComm. It can't come soon enough. 2023. We're really excited to be, a part of this industry. Seeing AV tweet ups and all the familiar faces. InfoComm is really a special show. It's not a huge world. This is a small enough industry where we all get to meet each other and see each other. So it's a pleasure working with you, Gary.
Yeah, same as well. And, of course, check them all out at PTZOptics.com or HuddleCamHD.com as well. Paul, thank you for joining us.
With Rants and rAVes, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is Rants and